Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep into Make Me Disappear.
Ooh, this one's a good one.
Yeah, I know a lot of you have been asking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and especially about Noel Thomas's relationship with Daniel.
Yeah, he's a piece of work.
So today we're going to dive into the book and unpack
Okay.
her story. And specifically, the listener wants to know how she ultimately breaks free from his control.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, it's a wild ride, but
Yeah.
luckily we get both sides of the story
Oh, that's so interesting.
because the book is told
Okay.
from both their perspectives.
That is really helpful in a story like this. When you can see both sides of the story, I mean, it gives you so much more insight into, like you were saying,
Exactly.
the power dynamics.
Yeah, and you can really get into their heads.
And figure out why it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Their first date.
Okay.
Now, he takes her to this really fancy French restaurant.
Hmm.
Right off the bat. Is that a red flag already?
It can be. Especially, I mean,
Yeah.
Daniel is a very successful surgeon.
Right.
There's definitely an element of him, I think, trying to show off his status.
Right. Like almost trying to intimidate her a little bit.
Yeah. And Noelle even mentions in the book, like, feeling a little bit out of place in her clothes.
Oh.
Not really knowing anything about the wine list or any of that.
Oh, I see. So he's already kind of making her feel a little...
Yeah, definitely.
less than.
A little less than.
Yeah.
And, and then this is where the love bombing starts to come in.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that. What is that?
Right. So, like, showering her with all this attention, all these compliments, really making her feel special.
Right.
But it's also this sneaky way of isolating her.
How so?
Well, pretty quickly, he starts to kind of steer her away from her friends and family, pushing her to meet his mother really early on. All very calculated, very much like, just like these calculated moves, I think.
Is that common to try and separate someone from their support system so early on?
It's actually a pretty big hallmark of manipulative behavior, yeah.
Oh, wow.
The fewer people that Noelle has to confide in,
Right.
the fewer people that she has to give her like a reality check,
Okay.
the more she relies on Daniel's version of events. And then comes the car accident.
Ooh, yeah. This feels like a huge turning point in the story
Right,
because he ends up saving her.
right.
But the book kind of hints that it may not have been an accident.
Exactly. And if that's true, then it goes way beyond just manipulation.
Right.
This is like manufactured trauma bonding.
Wow. Explain that a little bit.
Like, he creates this whole situation
Mhm.
where Noelle feels completely indebted to him. Like,
Wow.
he is her protector.
Yeah.
And that just makes it that much harder for her to question anything he does later on.
That's terrifying.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow. But luckily, like we were saying, we get to see inside Daniel's head a little bit too.
Yes.
So what's his motivation?
Well, his inner monologue, I think, is really revealing.
Okay.
You see this, like, intense jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
He has this need to control
Right.
every single aspect of Noelle's life. And it really seems to stem from his own past. We get hints about his manipulative mother,
Right.
a lack of control in other areas of his life.
Okay.
He's really trying to recreate that sense of control
Gotcha.
in this relationship with Noelle.
So it's less about love
Yeah.
and more about power for him.
I think it's about the illusion of love, like
Yeah.
that feeling of power that he
Right.
gets from manipulating someone
Gotcha.
into fitting into this mold he's created in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the spyware and cameras come in.
Oh, yeah. In her apartment.
Yeah.
That's the part that really creeped me out.
I know.
Like, it just feels like such a violation of privacy.
Yeah, it is. And it just really makes you think,
Yeah.
Like, how much are we really willing to sacrifice in the name of security?
Right?
Where's that line between being protected
Right.
and being controlled?
Exactly.
And then things get even darker with Noelle's Aunt Beatrice.
Right. After her surgery.
Right.
And it's kind of implied that Daniel might have
Right.
had something to do with it.
There's definitely suspicion there.
Yeah.
Especially when Noelle discovers these, like, inconsistencies in the medical records.
Oh, okay.
And she even hires a private investigator to look into it.
Wow.
Yeah, Allison Montgomery.
Okay. So this investigation is starting to uncover some disturbing things about his past.
It is. This is where we learn about his ex-girlfriend,
Okay.
Sarah McCleary, and her mysterious disappearance. And it really makes you wonder, is Daniel capable of something much more sinister?
Right.
Is Noelle's life actually in danger?
Right. Is this going to escalate?
Yeah.
Which then leads us to Noelle's very drastic plan
Oh, yeah.
of staging her own kidnapping.
I mean, talk about drastic measures, right?
Desperate times.
The irony, right?
Yeah.
She has to be kidnapped to be free.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. But even that plan
No.
doesn't exactly go as planned.
No.
Because the kidnapper Jack,
Right.
not at all what she was expecting.
Right. So, who is he?
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
his deal?
Yeah, what are his motivations?
It's the big question. He seems to know a lot more about Daniel than he's letting on, that's for sure.
Right.
And he actually expresses concern for Noelle's safety. He's almost a little reluctant to even do the kidnapping.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All while Daniel, of course, is frantically trying to track her down.
Oh, of course. Using her phone, naturally.
Right.
And this is where he starts to manipulate her cousin, Kari,
Oh, right.
who's already dealing with a lot.
Right. Vulnerable.
Yeah, very vulnerable, which is exactly what he preyed on with Noelle, too.
Oh, wow. This is getting good. Oh, it gets so much better.
Yeah.
We are just scratching the surface.
Wow. I feel like there's so much more to unpack here.
There is.
But we're going to have to pause
Okay.
right here for now.
All right.
But don't worry, we'll be back soon
We will.
to dive into the next part of Noelle's story.
Yes, and all these twists and turns.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned.
Oh, man. That Sarah McClary mystery
Mm-hmm.
really has me hooked.
Yeah.
Like, is she still alive?
I know. It's a big one.
What happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
we need to talk about Eve,
Right. Daniel's mother.
Daniel's mother.
Yeah.
Remember how
Yeah.
he was pushing for Noelle
I do.
to meet her early on?
Yeah.
That wasn't just him being a mama's boy, was it?
Oh, no. There's so much more to it
Okay.
than that.
So are you saying that she
well,
was involved in the kidnapping?
Yeah. Well,
It really seems that
and
way.
it's insane. It is. And it's even more twisted when you hear her reasoning,
Okay.
because Eve really believes that she's acting in Daniel's best interest.
Okay.
You know, like she's trying to secure,
So she's trying to get...
yeah, like the perfect wife, the perfect family. It's like this really warped
Yeah.
sense of love and control that
Yeah.
she's projected onto him,
Like,
like
turns
his
out-
whole life.
Like, wow. Talk about a controlling parent.
I know, right? Like she's orchestrated this
Yeah.
whole elaborate scheme.
But how? I mean...
Well, remember, she's a woman of considerable means
Right.
and influence.
Okay.
And this whole pattern of control,
Yeah.
it's not new for her.
Okay, so what do you mean?
Well, this is where we learn that she actually blackmailed Justine,
Hold on. Who's Justine?
another one of Daniel's
Okay.
ex-girlfriends,
Okay.
into disappearing.
I don't remember her from before.
She was mentioned, but just briefly. You know, Justine was the one who ended things very abruptly with Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Refused any further contact.
Okay.
Well, it turns out that she was pregnant with his child. Yeah.
So Daniel has a kid out there.
That's what it's suggesting, yeah.
Wow.
And Eve, you know, she was horrified by the
Uh-huh.
prospect of Justine being the mother of her grandchild.
Yeah.
So she basically threatened to expose all these
Yeah.
personal secrets
Wow.
unless Justine complied with her demands.
So Eve is really something else.
She is. Like, this just really paints this chilling picture
Yeah.
of how far she's willing to go to maintain control, even if it means
Right.
ruining people's lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, did she do the same thing to Sarah?
Well, it's never explicitly confirmed,
Okay.
but the book definitely hints at a connection there.
Okay.
You know, Eve really disliked Sarah, disapproved of her background,
Go.
and given her history of extreme measures, it's not a stretch at all to think that she might have played a role
Right.
in Sarah's disappearance, too.
Okay, so we have a mother orchestrating kidnappings,
Mm-hmm.
a missing ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
a fake kidnapper,
Right.
who might actually be a good guy. I mean, how does Noelle even begin to
I know, right?
untangle all of this?
Well, she has to really rely
Oh,
on
okay.
her instincts.
Okay.
And her courage.
Okay.
You know, remember, she's not just this
Yeah.
passive victim here.
Right.
So during this confrontation
Mhm.
between Daniel and Eve,
Okay.
she actually sees an opportunity,
Okay.
grabs Kari,
Okay.
and makes a run for it.
Oh, wow. Talk about chaos.
It is.
Yeah.
But this is really where we see
Right.
Noelle's strength, you know? She's no longer waiting to be rescued.
Okay.
She's taking matters
Right.
into her own hands.
Okay.
And you guessed it, Jack steps in to help.
So he really is a good guy.
It really seems that way. He puts himself at risk to ensure their safety.
Okay.
You know, he's clearly driven by this desire
Yeah.
to protect Noelle
Okay.
and to uncover the truth
Really?
about what happened to his sister, who we later learn.
Wait, Jack's sister.
Yeah.
Okay, so all this time,
Is connected to Daniel.
he's been trying to find his sister.
Exactly.
Wow. This is blowing my mind.
Yeah, it is.
So his involvement in this whole staged kidnapping
Yeah.
was just a way to get closer to Daniel.
Yeah. To get to the truth.
Right, to figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
It all connects.
So Noelle and Kari, they're safe now?
They're physically safe.
Okay.
But, you know, the trauma of everything they've been through,
Right.
that's far from over.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. You know, Noelle is dealing with anxiety, fear, like this deep sense of betrayal. You know, the book really portrays this long road to recovery for survivors of abuse.
Yeah.
And it's a journey, not this quick fix.
Okay, so what happens next? Does she get justice?
Right.
I mean, what about Daniel and Eve?
Well, remember, Noelle's a resourceful woman.
She is.
Like, she reports Daniel's credit card stolen,
Okay.
files a complaint against him at the hospital.
Okay, so she's not letting them get away with this.
No, she's not.
Okay.
She even confronts Justine,
Wow.
hoping to find an ally, you know,
Okay.
in this fight for justice.
So she's demanding accountability.
She is.
Yeah.
And these actions
Okay.
ultimately lead to this final confrontation at Eve's house.
Okay.
And this is where the truth about Sarah's fate is finally revealed.
Okay.
But the resolution
Okay.
might not be.
Uh-oh. Another cliffhanger?
You'll have to wait and see.
Oh, man. You're killing me.
But don't worry, we will dive into
Okay.
all the dramatic twists and turns
Okay.
in the final part of our deep dive.
All right. I can't wait.
Yeah, you won't want to miss it.
Okay, lay it on me. What happens? What's the truth about Sarah?
Well, it's Eve, actually.
Eve, really?
Yeah, Eve's the one who reveals what happened to Sarah.
Wow. So why would she turn on Daniel?
I think, in a way, Eve finally sees Daniel for who he really is.
Okay.
All the manipulation, the lies, and she realizes what she's created.
So it's like she's trying to redeem herself a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that.
Okay.
Like, it's this kind of twisted redemption, you know?
Right.
After a lifetime of controlling him,
Yeah.
she's the one who brings him down.
So what happens?
Well, it all comes out during this confrontation
Okay.
at Eve's house. And it's a mess.
Yeah, I bet.
Lots of accusations, lots of emotions.
Okay.
But in the end, it's Eve's testimony
Okay.
that puts Daniel away.
Wow, so he gets arrested.
He does.
Jeez, what a fall from grace.
I know. It's like watching his whole world crumble around him.
Yeah, but I still need to know. What happened to Sarah?
You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't actually get a definitive answer.
Really?
We know Eve was involved in her disappearance, but the details are left to our imaginations.
So she's still out there, maybe?
It's possible. I mean, we don't know for sure.
Wow. I think that's almost more chilling.
Right.
Like not knowing is somehow worse.
It is. And it really makes you think about all the people affected by this, right?
Like the ripple effects.
Yes. It's not just Noelle. It's Sarah. It's Jack, who's been searching for her all this time.
Right.
Even Eve, in a way,
Right.
is a victim of her own manipulations.
It's a really good point. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, it's like this whole cycle of pain and control.
Okay, so what about Noelle and Jack? Do they end up together?
You know, the novel kind of leaves their relationship open-ended.
Really?
They've been through so much together, obviously. Formed this really unique bond.
Right.
But what happens next?
Yeah.
The book doesn't say.
So it's up to us to decide.
I think so. It's kind of fun, though, right?
Yeah, I like that.
To imagine the possibilities.
Okay, so if you had to guess, what do you think happened?
Honestly, I think they both deserve a shot at happiness.
Yeah, after everything they've been through.
Exactly. And I think that's really what the book is trying to say, you know?
Okay.
Even in the darkest stories, there's still hope.
Right.
Like a reminder that healing is possible, that even broken people can find connection and support.
You know, when I first picked up this book, I thought it would be just a thriller.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's so much more than that.
Oh, absolutely. It's about manipulation, abuse, family, trust.
Wow. I'm glad we did this deep dive.
Me too.
I feel like I understand the book
Yeah.
and all its layers so much better now.
I think that's what we try to do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, for everyone listening at home, what do you want them to take away from this?
You know, I think the biggest thing is learning to recognize the red flags of manipulation in our own lives and how to support those.
Yeah.
who have experienced abuse.
These are really important questions.
They are, and they go way beyond this book, you know.
Right.
It's about looking at our own world.
This has been such an amazing discussion. Thank you for joining me.
Of course, it's been my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
I hope you'll join us next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic. Until then, keep exploring and keep the conversation going.